Kristen, can you tell me who's here real quick?
Yes, we have Sean is here and Lisa and Rich is on, and he was able to hear us, but we could not hear him. And now he no longer has video on either. And then we have Andy Port, who's moderating the meeting, and we are recording.
Okay.
So we were just, I was muted and blocked because I was shuffling papers trying to find an email.
Okay. Do we have anyone in the guest room, so to speak?
I can tell you. We have Colin. Oh, I'm sorry, Colin and Karen. Andy, could you promote them both to panelists? Karen is a member and Colin must, he's a newly interested member.
He's going to be appointed soon.
So they both should be appointed.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I could just introduce myself, I'm Andy Port. I'm the planning director. I've just taken over hosting for this meeting since I do so many of them. So if you could send me an email with your contact info, I'll just make sure that you're plugged in there automatically. Next time you'll have a Zoom invitation email that will get you in there automatically. So
perfect. Thanks so much.
Hi, Janie.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry that I guess my it didn't keep my email forever, so I couldn't find it, and I couldn't find it on the city website either. I was having trouble. So thank you, Andy, for sending me another link. I do appreciate that. I know it's a pain, but I do appreciate it because I was getting really stuck there. So thank you for that. Is Sean here?
Yeah,
Sean is here, yes.
You are here. Okay. I know you said you were having trouble earlier, but good, you're here. Okay. So I know that Brian's not going to be with us. He did send me an email. He's down in Florida and he's got some obligations, so he can't join us. But it sounds like everyone else is here then, correct?
I believe so, but Andrea is not here. As ADA coordinator, I know she erroneously attempted to log in on Tuesday or on the wrong day. So I thought that we would hear or see her today, but I don't think we necessarily have to wait for her.
Yeah, we don't. And I'm not sure that we will see her because I know that she said that she had a program going on at this time, and I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yes.
Or if it's something that she absolutely has to be the one that's there. I don't know yet. She didn't tell me she wasn't coming to the meeting today, but it's possible that that's the case, and she just forgot to let me know or remind me that she has that other obligation for now. But I didn't get any updates from her, so we'll just kind of if she shows up, she shows up. If not, that's fine. Yep. We'll just have a kind of a thing. Yes. It is a light agenda, and it is pretty much a lot of carryover. There's just really not a whole lot going on right now. And I'm not sure if there's been any mail for us at City Hall, any variance request packets or anything like that. I haven't been... I mean, I guess Andrea would pick them up.
You would be the one to pick those up, right? I would think.
So, I haven't heard anything from her on any of those sort of, things that come through. But, yeah, I guess we can just then dive right into actually introductions, because we do have a visitor with us, Colin Sarf. Am I saying that correctly, Sarf?
Yep, that's right.
He's on as a panelist because he's going to be joining us as a member. And so I think an introduction round would be a good idea on his behalf. So I'll start. Hi, Colin. Nice to see you. Well, not that I can really see you, but nice to have you with us and nice to talk to you again. I am legally blind, so I'm here with a disability. I joined, I've been here for about 9 years. And I guess clockwise, I don't know. I don't know if it's up like that.
I don't think anyone's screen looks the same. So I can go next and then I can call the next person and then somebody can call in the person after that. So I'm Kristen Farrell. Nice to meet you, Colin. Nice to see you. I am the acting secretary for the commission and I've been on for, I've lost track, maybe 5, 6, 7. I don't
Probably 6 or 7.
Yeah, maybe 6-ish. So I am a sign language interpreter by profession, and I also have 2 children with neuromuscular disease. So my son is a wheelchair user, and my daughter has some ambulatory difficulties. Yeah, we have a lot of, I wear a lot of hats. So welcome, Colin. And let's see, Lisa, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I changed my background from my corporate background to Cashman Park because I thought it would be more appropriate.
So
I live in the North End and enjoy feeding the ducks. I am in a wheelchair, have been for about 10 plus years. And so I really care about all facets of disability, every kind, not just physical disabilities, but all of the above, and have been lucky enough to work with the deaf as well, like Kristen, although I'm not entirely as fluent in sign as she is. But anyway, I enjoy very much getting around on my wheelchair around town. So anyway, hope I'll see you in person someday. Thanks. Oh, who should I go over to? Rich, can you speak?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yay! We can hear Rich. A round of applause for audio.
I better quit while I'm ahead. My name is Tracer. I'm retired physician and partially retired. Continue teaching at, on a volunteer at New England Medical. I go down about things a week. So if I occupy that, I tend to issues and I am enjoying my retirement and I enjoy the.
Great. Sorry, Rich. I'm not sure if it was just my audio, but I think it might have been cutting out a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, kind of broken up.
Oh, okay. Hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Rich Tracer, a partially retired physician on a volunteer basis at New England Medical Center, 2 mornings a week, meeting, and I enjoy being on the disability. I've been on the commission now for about. Don't know for sure. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to check.
It's been with us for a while, Rich. I think probably at least as long as Kristen.
I think shortly after, right? Not too long after me. Yep.
Yep.
Anyway, welcome.
So can we hear from Sean?
Sure. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Colin. I was your 7th grade social studies teacher.
Yep.
That's been a few years ago. But Colin and I do keep connected via Facebook, which is great. And when he told me that he wanted to be a member, I was overjoyed. We were together maybe 15 or 16 years ago, Colin. I can't believe it's been that long. But
Wow.
I was a member of the commission back when I was your teacher. So I was a member of the commission, and then I went away, did another commission, and I'm back home where I belong. I do have some issues, mobility issues especially. It's great to be with everybody.
And Karen. Oh, Karen, you're on mute.
There we go. So I'm Karen Sakaniwa. I live in the South End, and my son is hearing impaired, mild to moderate, really more moderate as he's gotten older. So it's just funny how so many members have sort of interconnecting experiences. And, I wasn't expecting that. That's interesting.
Let's see. I think that's all of us. Colin, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Yep. I grew up in the South End off of State Street now, but I born with a diagnosis on the autism spectrum. I was diagnosed at 16. So it's all like the intellectual challenges of that. So high functioning. So.
Well, great.
Clear.
Thanks
Yeah.
for your interest and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're very pleased to have you, truly. And
We're
I'm just
thrilled.
I want to add that
Have somebody a little younger would be great.
Hey,
Yeah,
you just called all the rest of us old, Lisa.
Well, I didn't say young, I said younger.
Okay, that's good.
No, he is our he's going to be our junior. Yeah. Mhm.
Right.
No, and it's great. And I just want to add, Karen is a newer member, so that's great too. And who's not here is Brian Greenberg. He's been with us for several years, and he does transcription for college students that need help with various courses being transcribed. If I believe it's for hard of hearing, correct?
Generally, yes.
Yeah. But so that's his interest. That's why he's with us. He that's his nature of his work. So but he's not here today, but you'll meet him next time. So yeah, all right. Well, great. So welcome, Colin, and welcome back, Karen. And let's just jump into the very mild.
We have an update from the ADA coordinator, which we do not have one.
Right.
The accessible playground update, there is no new business that I am aware of. I unfortunately did not reach out to Lisa Reed since our last meeting. The last information that we had was that the community preservation grant was not awarded to the MAL project. So I will reach out to her in advance of our next meeting and see how that progress is going otherwise.
Yeah, okay.
Sticking with business that has my initials after it, the CPAC meeting for this month was scheduled, I believe for the 3rd or the 4th, and then got rescheduled. So it's actually next week. So we should have some more connection with CPAC, the Special Ed Parent Advisory Council, after our next meeting. They meet monthly. And Jenny, the ADA grant, the MOD grant.
So we still haven't heard any word from MOD. We're now well into January. I suspect we didn't win our application. I think we probably would have heard from them by now. And they're pretty clear on their state website that basically the don't call us, we'll call you. So,
do you remember, Jenny, when we applied for the grant prior, how quickly we heard? I don't remember, without rifling through all my notes. I don't remember.
That one little one that we did win that helped the auditorium auditory system. That was the first year. So what is that? Years ago now?
3 maybe.
Or 3. Maybe 3.
It could be 2 or 3. I'm not sure.
I think it's actually 4 because there was one year that we didn't get to apply.
Okay.
And then
yeah, I don't remember how quickly we heard. I was just curious, but
and I think at that time, because it was the first rounds, like the first time they ever did it, things were, have probably streamlined since then. Even if it was a while before we heard, they're probably a little bit more streamlined now. So I suspect we probably aren't going to win that grant. But I haven't heard from Nancy London one way or the other. She hasn't heard anything. So, if she heard anything, she would let me know right away, obviously. But I haven't heard from her. So,
Well, hopefully we can just blame
Like, no
blame
news is bad.
COVID like everything else, and maybe they're behind in their grant awarding.
Yeah,
and-
maybe it's possible, but I do feel like with this particular grant, it's sort of like no news is bad news. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
we'll, yeah, I would
What
like,
did we submit?
we submitted for the, what is the Market Square intersection,
Yes, that's right.
firehouse. And, you know, it just might not have been a strong enough, you know, just not compelling enough. You know, these grants are really competitive. So I am admittedly a little frustrated that we haven't been involved more with the application process in terms of having, you know, some discussions with the city about what's really viable. And I think the bottom line and why we're not getting, you know, these grants awarded is because the city's just not putting in anything towards the project that's really, you know, says we're trying. I mean, the best we've gotten for that is just the sort of, you know, work that would be done in-house and calling it, you know, in-kind work. And I just don't think that that's cutting it for this grant.
I
So-
do think the stronger grant applications have a line item to budget already prepared from the cities that are being awarded. So
I think you're right.
I
And
think that is
there's
something for
project-
us to have a conversation with maybe the planning department or
I really want to collaborate with what projects are, you know, facing the city and see what would fit our grant and that the city's already planning to do that we
Right.
could then assist with, as opposed to just coming up with a whole new project the city's not putting any money into because it isn't on the anyway.
This is Andy. Could I make a suggestion?
yes,
Please.
please.
A couple of things. One is we have a so-called technical review committee where we meet on a roughly monthly basis to review projects, both public and private, all technical issues. We coordinate at these meetings, try to get every department that's involved in those reviews.
And I apologize, I haven't been able to attend any of the meetings you've invited me to for that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But that's one avenue in particular that's good because that's when you would be, I think Caitlin should already be sending out to you as chair, and we can send it to others if you like. But I think Caitlin's already got you as the designated person to send the plans around to. So when we get development plans or project plans, we route them around for feedback from folks. So one way is to attend those meetings. The other one is just to be responding to the emails about those projects. You know, we usually attach the plans or link them to the website. So you can just give us your feedback, whatever the concerns are, or if you want to try to integrate in a project that you're doing, you know, align it with something that's lined up, you know, in the queue. We can, the other place I would suggest going for that or considering that is having one member at least go regularly to the Traffic Safety Advisory Committee, which met at 4 o'clock today. They meet roughly every month as well, and I'm part of that group. But that group is constantly talking about, we just talked about Low Street at Colby Farm Lane in North Atkinson. There's definitely got to be coordination, I think, on the accessibility issues with this group. Perhaps someone attending that group would be beneficial. Beyond that, I would say, you know, having some sort of direct, maybe a liaison check-in in some way with the Department of Public Services or the mayor's office about the projects that they see coming along. We don't get involved with all the infrastructure upgrades and streets, so typically that's public services. But those are the places I would go.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Andy, did you say the TSAC meetings are monthly or every 2 weeks?
They're monthly, and it was
Monthly.
actually earlier today at 4 o'clock. There was actually discussion of an accessibility and safety issue that, for instance, one of you might have wanted to be there as a liaison or even as an individual member to see what's going on or speak to the concerns you'd have. But that's a place I would go. Those are meetings posted on the city's website as well. It's usually Thursdays, second or third Thursday in the month.
Okay. All right. Yeah, maybe Kristen, we could coordinate and you could set me up with a bit of a schedule of meetings that I could try to jump in on, and if I can't, maybe,
I think maybe between the 6 or 7 of us, we could
Yeah.
potentially sit in on an extra meeting every month, one of us, and kind of rotate
maybe
that
if we
around.
divvy it up.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. Thank you, Andy. That's good insight.
Okay.
I just had a thought and it went away. Sorry. That kind
Oh,
of
dear.
day.
Come on, Mom.
I know, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Andy, the accessibility and safety issues that you just said, that you mentioned specifically for the new project was at the bottom of Low and North Atkinson, or at the bottom of North Atkinson at Low Street. Is that right?
Correct, and the crossing over to Colby Farm Lane. So there's residential development being built down there.
Right.
Unfortunately, when that was permitted, the planning board had the only, direct level of control over this issue at the time. But unfortunately, inadvertently, with folks looking at other aspects of the project, there wasn't enough attention paid to that intersection. So when the developer showed on their plan a sidewalk going out to the street, it just kind of dead ended in a non-accessible location that has sightline and safety issues because of speeding. So we have a consultant, Beta, looking at that issue through public services in our department, and they're going to give us some feedback and recommendations, all of which will be reviewed at the next Traffic Safety Advisory Committee meeting and subsequent meetings if necessary, to come to some agreement about what will be done there. So if you wanted to take a look at, for instance, how the ramps are being placed in, whether or not there's an audible control, system for, push buttons, or I don't know, I'll defer to you on that, but you may want to check in on, there may be some other meetings that are worth attending, because for private projects, you can attend the ZBA and particularly the planning board meetings and weigh in on private projects that are coming in for permitting in that way. With the city side, you can use the means I just mentioned.
So just forgive me for this being kind of an ignorant question, but in the past, we would have had an ADA coordinator who was linked with the building department, and he or she, but in my experience, it's been a he 4 times, has been the kind of connection from us to the permitted project requests that are coming through, like from development purposes. So for example, when the Black Cow purchased the new building.
No, I'm familiar with the position and the.
Yeah. So is that, do you have any information, or we can obviously reach out to Mayor Holliday's office and find out like how that's going with the search? And
yeah, I can summarize it for you right now.
Perfect. Awesome.
It's gonna take a little bit longer. So I would anticipate a few more months, frankly,
Okay.
Of having Andy try to fill that role as best she can.
Right.
I realize she's not here this evening, and I'm not sure if she was at the last meeting, but I'll have to defer to her and the mayor on that. But my expectation, based on what I know right now, is they're having some difficulty finding the right person for that position, and because of also administrative turnover in that office, they've got their plate full with folks that are filling in and covering. So I think what you need to do is probably expect a couple of months in which you don't have a designated person from the building office that can do that. But then at that point, hopefully we will have someone who's been hired, gotten familiar with their office and their work, and then can immediately start joining meetings and working with you.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So I think maybe in the meantime, I think it would be advantageous of us to just maybe all volunteer to, attend a meeting, separate from our regular meeting, if it's going to serve our purposes. My thoughts on the ADA grant for the next fiscal year, which of course won't be open until October, August to October.
August, right.
But we wait till the last minute, like, to get something together. That certainly is probably not all that helpful for us either. So it might make sense for us to see what projects are coming, more in the long run.
Yeah, I actually am thinking even further out to the next grant cycle that we might be able to kind of pre-plan for. I don't think we should give up hope for this, the next one coming up, but I think the one after that might even be more of something that we can kind of strategize for and collaborate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I definitely try to get us to win a grant at some point again, for something that's going to really, make a bigger difference,
Right.
with infrastructure wise. I mean, it was nice to get the City Hall auditorium outfitted with the loop system, but, it would be nice to get some state money to go towards something a little bit more widespread.
Right.
So we'll just, definitely make that a bit of a priority, I think, over, this year and next year too, is if we can stay in the loop on projects in the city, then we can interject and say, well,
Right. I think that would be helpful. And I think it would be good for us to have that kind of input.
yeah.
So what I can do is I have a note. I will go through the calendar on Monday, and I will send around an email to the group, and we can kind of plan who's available for which meeting for the next 4 weeks. And Andy, are those posted as recurring meetings? So if we look 4 weeks out, then we can assume that they would be posted for 8 weeks out too, or do they get posted as they come along?
Oh, that's a great question. Our administrative assistant, Diane Bovair, does it for the permitting boards. We don't typically handle your board. That's usually handled by the clerk's office. So what we do is for our permitting boards, we post them all at the beginning of the year, every month, right in advance, so everybody knows when they are. I would suggest the next time you ask the clerk's office to post a meeting, that you list off all the dates that they should be. That way that you've already got them on the calendar where you want them.
Okay, perfect. So I can follow up with them on Tuesday next week. I believe Monday is a holiday.
Yeah.
But I can do some homework before then, and we can all collaborate by email for that. So thank you. That also ties into our need for a subcommittee for webpage updates. We spoke briefly about this at our last meeting, which was in November. Unfortunately, I have not reached out to Matt Coogan yet to discuss that. But do we know when, Colin, have you had your you've had your introduction meeting with the mayor? Have you had a first reading with the city council, or do you know when you're on the agenda for a reading of the city council?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, so generally what happens is the mayor receives your information, and then she proposes to the city council that they approve your appointment. They do that at the one meeting, and then they do it a second approval, right, Jenny? Is that how it is?
Yeah.
At the twice?
Then at the next meeting, it's on for a second reading and an approval, which I suspect he'll probably be in their next packet. Because he has been in contact with the mayor. She more or less, has already appointed him. I think it just the
city council has to go through the step procedure. Yes.
Weeks, but I suspect it'll be in the next meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay. It's somewhat not relevant to my question, but my I think just in the interest of us not knowing you, Colin, if there's anything that you're like, hey, I can help with that, or hey, I have experience with this, we're all ears. Don't feel shy about jumping in and saying, well, what about this? Because we would like your participation in as much or as little as you are able to offer. So if you have website experience or stuff like that, then feel free to speak right up.
Well said, Kristen.
So just looking at the agenda, and I don't think there's anything else for old business. Do we have any new business or any other comments from any other members that would like to be brought forth?
I don't have anything without Andy being here. I wanted to ask her about getting the Snow Angels program posted on the Disability Commission page, on the city website. I think it would be appropriate to have a link for that there. But she's not here to ask about it, so.
Okay. Well, so far we're really rocking it without any snow, so maybe we won't need any snow angels.
That's not going to last.
Come on, Lisa, don't be a Debbie Downer. It's so nice to not have to schlep a wheelchair through the slush and the
Yeah.
ground, as you know, I know. I did have a thought about snow when I looked at something.
Well, I did have a thought about snow. We did get one good storm. It was pretty right before Christmas there. Went downtown and everywhere people do their sidewalk, but they don't do the connector to the next sidewalk. And they don't do coming off for the curb. So
Right.
I end up having to play a game of Frogger to try to find places where I can navigate without trying to crash through snow. So do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I don't know how, I don't think that's something you can legislate.
It's an ongoing battle for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not legislate, but maybe
Yeah.
kind of bring some awareness. to
I use that word
Yeah.
somewhat sarcastically.
No,
but-
I know exactly what you mean.
It just made me remember, there's actually a piece on it. I saw it in the city council sort of overview from their last meeting, I think, or maybe it was actually a post from Councillor Khan, but she, and I think, I want to say Heather Shand and Councillor Shand and Councillor Wallace, I think, were putting together some snow legislation to address like enforcement and things like that. So Lisa, it might be worth it to contact one of them and give your input.
Yeah, I know Heather. She's my counselor.
I think she's one of the ones,
Okay.
because I know that that's something that they were, I think, going to have a meeting about or already had a meeting about. There might be something coming up soon. It's just escaped me because it was something I saw quickly on Facebook, and it kind of went in and out, but it just popped in my head as you brought it up, that they were actually looking at the city ordinance for snow removal and looking to update it. So
Okay.
I know any of them would be happy to hear from us. So yeah, please do reach out and keep me posted.
Yep, we'll do.
Great.
I'll reach out to her.
Okay, cool. I mean, I think you have the best insights for what, they're probably looking to achieve as well, in terms of really trying to make things a little better and a little more fair for everybody. So that might be a good conversation for sure. Okay,
Right.
cool.
Right.
Okay.
I have a quick question. I have a question. Does I'm just trying to learn and understand how these boundaries overlap. The Department of Public Works, it has no responsibility for plowing the sidewalk area that leads to a crosswalk. Is that it? Because the sidewalk is private?
I actually don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
The city does own a lovely little piece of machinery that fits perfectly on the sidewalk and drives around and plows, but I don't know what their criteria for deciding where that happens is.
Okay.
I think
Exactly.
that, yeah, if it's something that is, the responsibility of the property owner, all the building owners and whatnot, or, passed down on to the renter, whatever. I think that's how it is with the sidewalks, except for the ones that are owned by the city, where like in a sense of like stretches of sidewalk that go in front of city owned property. I think that that's what they're responsible for and not the rest of the sidewalks. So in other words, like, for instance, on Hill Street, there's a stretch of about 2 or 3 blocks that just abuts a fence that goes down to some city-owned property. That whole stretch of sidewalk should be cleared by the city. They don't, but that's whose responsibility it is because it abuts city-owned property. But anything that abuts property that's owned by a landowner or homeowner, business owner, whatever, it's their responsibility.
Okay.
That's
But that brings up a good point though, Jenny. Karen specifically mentioned the crosswalks. So if
Right.
you're not even just talking about a span of sidewalk in front of a business or anything like that, but like envisioning the crosswalk at Market Square, for example, because that's obviously very large, that crosswalk on the firehouse side would in theory be plowed or shoveled by the firehouse as a business entity, but on the opposite side, it abuts that Market Square curve. So there's not an actual business right there. The restaurants are kind of tucked off. Vera's to one side up on the left and the Brass Lions up a little bit on the right on the corner of N Street, but that center part
Right.
would technically be city. So if you applied that same theory to every other crosswalk in the city, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because it
gets
does
messy.
Yeah, it does seem like, is it too much to ask that become part of?
Be clear.
Yeah.
No, it's not too much. I think what happens a lot is I know that the city does do a lot of subcontracting for snow removal.
Mhm.
And a lot of stuff gets done shoddily by that. But, I don't think it would be a bad idea to bring that up.
I think if the counselors are, I think Rich wanted to actually make a comment also, but we couldn't hear him. I think if someone in the city council is looking to amend or update snow removal ordinances, then that would be another good point for us to bring up to them.
Yep. I would agree. Real problem.
Down Federal Street, every crosswalk on Federal Street is what I'm thinking of in particular, just because that's what I'm nearest. I can't imagine a kid trying to get to the school bus in a wheelchair.
Right.
Oh, I've tried to traverse Federal Street in the winter and bad winters when it's, just at every corner is a 5-foot snowbank.
Mountain.
Yeah, no, it's not fun.
Right. Rich, you're on mute. Are you able to unmute and see if we can hear you? I think you wanted to say something. If not, forgive me for calling you out.
Hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Good. I have 2 points to make. I think that the snow obstacle that Lisa described poses a liability, and the homeowner is definitely responsible for that snow, if only because it represents a liability. For instance, snow bank and someone and the homeowner is responsible for clearing it, whatever obstacle is there. Now, I'm not sure how that's going to be accomplished, but I think that's how ability probably lies. Secondly, I've done my homework in regard to trying to locate for the disabled. As you know, the program is somewhat confused and very convoluted. It's very difficult to get anybody who knows what's going on and how much of any vaccine is allocated to a specific hospital or region. So I'm still working on that issue. Unfortunately, of Cal courses often knows very little about it, and I don't think too many people know much about it.
Right.
So that's
Well, I think as long as you're, maybe a bee in the bonnet, at least it's, putting it in people's minds as those conversations might come up for them, in their leadership roles. So thank you for doing that. You can
Oh.
keep with them and just keep it on their mind,
How it all,
definitely something that I've seen plenty of people, sort of lamenting about and inquiring about, that people with disabilities should have that access, along with people over 65 for the vaccine. So yeah, just keep trying to stay on top of them with it. But I definitely understand that you haven't gotten far with that, or that there isn't much information on it, because I think they just don't know what they're doing fully yet.
well, the disabled population reservoir of those people, even under 65, can have compromised immune or are compromised in many other ways that are definitely susceptible, more susceptible than the general public. And that needs.
Well, that's why it's good. I'm glad that you're advocating for it to the higher ups, our leadership representation. That's really all we can do, is just advocate. So thank you for doing that.
I'll keep it up.
Well, yeah, Rich, also just to kind of put it on your radar, several communities that I'm connected with children, parents of children with disabilities, are really speaking out loudly about caregivers also having earlier access to the vaccine too. So that
Yeah.
might be something to put on your radar for someone who has a medically fragile child, who is a parent or a relative or a primary caregiver. PCAs are getting the vaccine at the end of phase 1, which is approaching somewhat imminently, I think. But for parents that act in that PCA role, parents are not allowed to be paid PCAs under Mass Health rules. So that might just be something to kind of add to your repertoire of questions for them. That I'm hearing that quite frequently in the throughout different communities in the state.
Great.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
And they're talking at one note on that. They're talking about big venues, like using the football stadium at Foxborough. I can't get there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gotta be something different. Anyway, we could talk about that for hours and not get anywhere.
Be a bit both, in that it'll be available locally, but I think they're going to try to get mass amounts of people, done at once in those types of, settings. But I'm sure it's got to be available locally. I mean, it will be. But yeah, thank you, Rich. So just stay on top of that with those questions for them, and be that buzzing bee in their bonnet. Okay.
And I'm sure that with 2 or 3 weeks, I'll probably have some more.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just, as I was shuffling papers around, just as a parking update, I did get an email today from the parking clerk's office.
Yep.
And there were nine parking violations that were paid between October 1st and December 31st. So that's a little on the low side for historic quarters. So I haven't yet been able to have a conversation with Parking Clerk Jones, but that's on my radar also.
I wonder if it's just surely because people aren't going out that much.
Maybe just just COVID and not accessing City Hall in person and that sort of thing. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, there's so much that people aren't running to go do anymore,
Yeah, and we still don't have a sense of what tickets are issued and outstanding. So we need to kind of chase that down some more.
Yeah. Okay.
They try
What's
Sorry,
that?
Sean, what was that?
They could try Market Basket. I'm sure you could get a couple tickets a day.
Right. There is
Yeah.
that.
Unfortunately, though, I think with Market Basket, because it is a private lot, the police don't patrol it. They can be called to it, but it's not part of their patrol route.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I wish more people would call. I always tell people to call in those situations, but you never know if it's going to matter or not. But I hear you. On that same note, and I guess I'm not sure why I didn't put it on the agenda. I guess because it was already so bleak. But maybe we should really start trying to tie together the information we've gathered, Kristen, and talk about approaching the city council to raise the fine. I don't really see any reason why not. I mean, it's not a super big pressing thing for them, but it's something that we could focus on, and maybe by the summer it'll make a difference. Because things are so quiet for us right now anyway, that maybe it is something we could just sort of get done.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'll do is when I send out the minutes from today, I will include the updated calendar meetings for, sort of city meetings that we would have interest in attending. And also maybe I'll put some notes about some subcommittee work, and it can even be a subcommittee of one person. It doesn't have to be a group of people, but if that way we can maybe get someone other than me and Jenny and Lisa, or that we can get more hands in the pot, so to speak, as far as the website goes and the parking data and all of that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think if we can get some more collaboration, just
would be great.
Yeah, that would be helpful. So anyone that wants to partner up with one of us and help take a load off, please don't hesitate.
There will be nobody stepping on any toes, or no wheels running over anyone's toes either. Everyone's toes will be fine.
Yeah, no one's toes are
right. Yes.
No. All right, what do we have for time?
It is 5:57, so good. We got through more. We had more to talk about than we thought.
I'm good. I'm glad.
So if there's no other closing comments from anyone, we can hear a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
A second.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we will adjourn at 5:58, and we will see you all on February 11th at 5 p.m. And look out for that email from me next week, and we will make some more headway between now and February 11th.
Oh, and I think we need to catch up on the minutes.
I was looking, they should have gone through email, and I was trying to rifle through my sent files to find him, and I couldn't. So I need to double check and see what you might be missing, and I'll resend everything all together.
Okay, because that way we can actually, vote to approve the minutes.
Right. Yes. And some of that website collaboration would include also getting our minutes and our agendas up on our page. So that would be helpful too.
Yeah. I mean, there needs to be some conversations with Matt and,
yes. Yep.
things out. Yeah.
But in the era of Zoom, people can also plug us in and watch us on the screen and enjoy our meeting minutes that way. So great. Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all so much for coming, and enjoy the rest of the month, and we'll see you next month. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Andy, for hosting.
Welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yep.